So hi friends, in this video we are going to discuss about how did my CAP interview went. My CAP interview was scheduled on 3rd of March. So it was a good day. I went there on 2nd of March and what it was I just went to Ayambudia to look at the campus and see if there's any guest house available, but there was no guest house, so I took a hotel nearby and I went to Cambodia the next day at around 8 a.m. My reporting time was 8:30. At the first, we were allowed to sit and document verification happened, and they verify each document very thoroughly. They matched each and every marks that we got, and really took out the percentiles and really took out like the percentages of our cumulative scores and matched them with the data that we have entered. And eventually, if anything goes wrong, it doesn't mean that you're not allowed to give the interview. You will be allowed to give the interview, just that they will say to correct it whenever you come to take the admission. Many people don't have many documents. There are many mismatch. For example, and many people there are documents mismatch where they were like their names were very different. What they're in the document and what they have submitted in the interview process. For example, Ashu Tosh. So someone there's Ashu and then the Tosh. There's a gap between them in some certificates. So they were given options that whenever you come for admission, kindly correct. And after this, we were placed in a room which was the lecture hall of the same Bodhgaya. We were given a sheets where there was a single sheet which we have to write both the sides, and the topic was like OTT OTT platforms versus movie theaters, and it was a good topic to deal with because it was quite general, and I wrote about it for the 2 pages. At first, I for 4 minutes I made a roadmap about what to write, and the next I wrote it. So this was it. After that, we were given a panel number, and we were allowed to sit outside the room where the interview was happening, and the interview started, and they were like they had a roadmap of how to take the interview. Every interview went for around 15 to 20 minutes, and they were very clear about what they have to ask. At first, they would ask about like your academics, then they will ask about your first academics, and then they ask about like what are like your extracurricular activities. Third, about like HR questions. So like they are set into this. They will never leave anything like and in between they will also ask current affairs. So mostly it was at first they asked about my academics, then current affairs, then the second person asks about the interest and extracurriculars, then HR questions. So this is how the my panel was taking the interviews, because whenever someone came from that panel, they were saying that this was what happened. It was consistent throughout the candidates. So at first, I when I went, they let me sit down. So I have a seat, Rohan. So I said, okay, thank you, sir. Good morning, sir. And then they asked that, okay, Rohan, introduce yourself academically. Don't introduce yourself. Introduce yourself academically. So as they asked the question, I introduced myself. That "Hey, thank you so much for letting me introduce myself. My name is Rohan, and I belong from the city of Guwahati, Assam. I've done my this from 10th, 12th from this, and graduation from there. And currently, I'm pursuing this. And this is the because they asked for the academics. So I went on not to elaborate so much. And the first question they asked, Ron, would not be comfortable if we ask engineering questions to you? And I, becoming very truthful, I said, sir, I have done a lot of business and startups during my engineering. So I would be very happy if we can discuss on that. And it will be an interesting one. And then they said, then they all smiled and said, Rohan, you are just, you're just passing out of college, and you're running away from academics. So it was like, then I asked them, sorry, sir, but I do not mean that. I'm comfortable in both. So then they asked for the first time, they asked like what is XOR gate and what is NAND gate. I explained them. Then they asked, what give me one physical example where we can use XOR gate. So I mentioned an accident where it can be stopped, but also in the one case it will become zero. Those who are from electronics will understand. So I asked them that can I take 1 minute to think. Then I said, Rohan, 1 minute is too long. You can take 30 seconds. So, and then I went up with that, and After this went, after that, my third question was that and it was a quite satirical question that Rohan, why all electronics engineers always keep on saying that image is a signal, image is a signal? I don't understand this. Can you explain me why image is a signal? You all say it was my good luck that I have studied digital image processing, which is an open elective in my engineering. So I answered them very clearly. I mentioned about how images will be represented in matrix, and we need if all metrics every I comma j is a pixel, and then we send those like we you send data to light up the pixel and overall images form. So therefore we say image is a signal. And the last question after that they were quite consistent about like what did in your engineering and all. And after that, they asked me like, "What do you do for general awareness?" So I was like, "Sir, I like." Oh no! In between, there is also question of learn how to take the two's complement of a number, and I knew how to take it. I explained them. Then they said me that okay, don't take the two's complement of 10 something 8-digit number, and I need to take the two's complement of that in mentally. And which was I asked them, "Sir, can I take a pen and paper for it?" And then they said me that no, Rohan, you cannot. I am actually testing a mental ability. I know how you can do it. It was like okay, and I was not able to answer it correctly because it's quite normal that such a big number, 8 decimal, we need to reverse all the digit and then add one to it to give the answer. That was fine. Then he says, okay, leave it. Then my next question was like, what do you do for general awareness? So I mentioned that I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and when I get time with my friends, I discuss with them, and that is all. People are preparing for UPSC. Some of my friends, and that is uh, uh, how I update myself in the current affairs. So then he asked me, Lohan, that there was a deal done on 16th of or 26th of January, which was India's one of the biggest defense deal. What do you know about it? So I was very truthful that sorry, sir, I'm not able to recall this. The second question asked was that Donald Trump has Donald Trump has given a statement that we have unmarked or something to India. What was that? So I knew the perspective of how India was a developing economy and this and that. Although there is a core, the answer of tariff, but I didn't mention that. I mentioned this, which was also quite good. There's also perspective of it. The third question was that there's a canal which is named Canal of America. So what do you think? What was the implications or you know, overall perspective of America doing it? So I explained them it was made by America. Then American funds were used to made it, and for after several years, the agreement was that it will be transferred. The authority will be transferred to the nation in which it is built. But now, currently, America is saying that it was our taxpayers' money and we can't just give it away. So therefore, it is. And then the next person which just went in, came in. And then he asked, "Oh, you mentioned something about business. So to explain me more." Then I explained him about that. Then it was question like, "Why don't you do this and why are you doing MBA?" And I explained me all this. And then I explained that why it's not working anymore. I think I need to get a formal education in that. That was it. Then they asked me a you can say HR question like, Rohan, um, and what do you think, like, what is your dream company? Then I mentioned him like, oh, I believe, sir, in a circular aim of life. And I feel any good company under any good leadership will work for me. And even then they asked me, so Ron, do you think Google will work for you? Google, can you work in Google and gain the same experience? I said, yes, sir, I'm very sure I will work in Google. And if Google will have its own marketing team, and I will get to learn a lot from Google. So that was it. And this was the whole interview went. And then they went, okay, Ron, you can leave. So that was it. I think it went good. It did not well bad, but it also did not go that well. But I think we can't judge our interviews. Maybe they don't feel good or maybe they feel good. I don't know. So let's see what happens for the good. Bye.